So I had a rapture dream today. Today's September 10th, 2024, and I had it about 11:30 a.m. I was praying last night and I was just talking to God. I was saying these small, simple prayers. I didn't ask for any rapture dream. I didn't ask for any dreams at all, but He gave me this dream and I know He wants me to share it with you. It started off with me just noticing how dark it got. I was looking outside and I said, whoa, it's really dark. It shouldn't be this dark at this time of day. And I told my family member and we were kind of just freaking out just how dark it got. And it didn't suddenly get dark. It was like a slow, gradually it got dark, but it shouldn't have been that dark at that time of day. And so we were just looking at the sky, and then that's when I noticed that there was some movement in my room. So I went back to my room and I saw this husky dog, and I said, wait a minute, that's not my dog, because I know my dog's in the backyard. And then I went back to the living room, and that's when I saw the front door was open and all these animals were coming in. And there was about 3 or 4 big dogs. There was a baby skunk, and just different animals were coming in. And I think that they were just maybe trying to find a shelter, a place to be, because they were kind of also freaking out about this darkness that suddenly came. I said, well, let me go get my dog from outside in the backyard. I don't know what's going on. Let me bring him in. So I went to the backyard, and then that's when I noticed that it was starting to snow. And so I told my family member, I said, oh, come look, it's snowing. And then so we were in the backyard looking at the snow. And then we noticed that our storage unit in our backyard, it was crumbling, it was decaying. And so we went to the backyard, to take a look at it, to investigate it. And we saw that it was smoky. It was like it was burning, but there was no fire there. And we can see pieces of our shed on the ground, and it was just, decaying and crumbling down. I looked at the neighbors' yards, and they also have storage units in their backyards, and it was the same thing. It was just falling to pieces. And the houses were fine, but if you had any kind of second unit, maybe you have a pool house or a guest house or a storage unit, all of it was just crumbling down. It was like you couldn't have any structure that wasn't a part of your home. We were still looking at the destruction of our storage shed. And that's when we started seeing all these snakes coming out and all these bugs everywhere. And I think that, these bugs and critters, they like to live under houses, under storage units, under rocks, what have you. And so when all of that was being destroyed, think of how many of us have these separate structures in our backyards or wherever, and they're being destroyed. And so all these critters are coming outward. And so we started seeing all these snakes, and we just ran back inside. And then so some time must have passed by, because I remember I went walking onto my street down my neighborhood, and I noticed that all the houses were painted like 5 different very bright, vibrant colors. And people were happy about it. People were happy that the government was painting the houses and making the neighborhoods look nice. And it reminds me of when our trash cans, right? Back a few years ago, you had to provide and you had to buy your own trash cans. Well, they made the switch, and now we have our blue bins, we have our brown bins, and our green bins. But, that was a switch that people didn't like at first, but we all got used to it. And now I don't know if this is going to happen, if it's going to happen in our time, or it's going to happen after the rapture, during the tribulation. But I mean, what if the government does start painting our houses? And, people are going to be thrilled about it, because in my dream, nobody was upset. They all saw it as a good thing. I was worried about it. I didn't like it because I thought it was an easy way for them to group you and label you. So if you had a red house, maybe you were in group 1, or if you had a green house, you were in group 2. Yellow is group 3. That's what I think what was going on there. And so, again, people were happy about it. They saw it as a good thing. And so I was still walking down the street, and it was nighttime, and it wasn't snowing anymore. So I don't know if it was the same day or if some time had passed and it was a different day. And I looked to the sky, and I saw these lights in the sky. And then I noticed that they had wings, and these wings were glowy. I can just see these were angels. They were dressed in white, and they were riding on a chariot. I did see a lot of angels flying in the sky. Not all of the angels were riding in on the chariot, but the but some of them were on this gold chariot, and the chariot was very beautiful. It's very detailed, and it's solid gold, and you can just see the gold sparkle on these chariots. And these are not your normal chariots that you can Google and see that the Pharaoh, Egyptian Pharaoh, and his army used to ride. These are way different chariots, or heaven's chariots, and there's nothing like them. And when these angels were riding in on these chariots, you could just see their wings fully expanded. As they're coming in on the chariots, you just see these angels' wings on the back of these chariots. And they were like war chariots, so they were just standing they were standing on the chariot itself, kind of like a platform, and then they were just being pulled by the horses. I don't think that they were coming to fight, they were coming to pick us up, but these are how the chariots look. So they weren't the kind of chariots where you open the door, you climb in and you sit in like a car. These were the chariots where you just step on it, and you're just standing. They were very beautiful chariots, solid gold. And the angel was dressed all in white, and their wings were white as well, but I can see that there was their wings were like kind of lit up. It was like shimmering a goldness as well. So it was really beautiful. These angels were really, really beautiful. And if you can just imagine white wings stretched out in the sky, and these wings are white, but they're also glowing a golden shimmer to it. I started jumping up and down with my hands up in the air, and I was just yelling, "Jesus is coming, Jesus is coming." And nobody was listening to me. Nobody was looking at what I was looking at. So I think that in this dream that only Christians were able to see this, because people that were not saved, they were just not even noticing this. They were just going about their daily business. And I can see these angels kind of just flying above, and then they would just dive down really fast, and they would just scoop people up. I was seeing people disappearing, and these angels were just scooping up and grabbing them and taking them up. And I was seeing these angels just dive down, just getting ready to pick people up. And I was jumping up and down with my hands up in the air, just waiting for an angel to come and scoop me up. And I was like, Jesus is coming, Jesus is coming. And then that's when I saw an angel dive down. He landed right next to me. And there were these two girls that were on the street. I was on the sidewalk, and they were on the street. And they had like a cup of coffee, or they had some kind of like to-go cup. One of the girls didn't notice that an angel had landed right next to them. And she was getting out of the car. She was getting ready to head inside the apartment building. And so the angel was there to pick up one girl. The angel approached the girl, and the girl saw the angel, and so the angel told her it's time to go. And I just saw her set down her little coffee cup on the car, and she grabbed his hand, and they took off. And then I noticed that I was starting to lift up. I was starting to like float up, and I can feel my body like being changed. I felt my body being transformed, and I remember just like looking at my hands, and I was just being transformed, and that's when I woke up. But this was the end of my dream, and it was a really beautiful dream. I cannot even begin to describe how beautiful these angels were. They were dressed modestly, but they were dressed in white clothes. They were just beautiful wings, very large, huge wings. And again, when they were flying in the sky, it was nighttime, and I can just see them being lit up. It was like they were glowing a golden color, and their chariots that they were riding were all gold. They were being pulled by these white horses. And when these angels came down to land on the ground, I saw several of them coming down and landing, and they were picking up people. But I saw a few angels there. They were young, they were old, but they still looked youthful. They were different angels. They didn't all look the same. I was just so happy. It felt so real. I remember like when I saw them flying in the sky, I was like, wow, the rapture's happening. This is actually happening. And I thought it was real. I'm very encouraged with this dream, and I hope you are as well. Now's the time to come to Jesus Christ, because the rapture will happen. You don't have much time left. God is just giving us dreams, and we're not even asking for them. So he's letting us know that the hour is late, and the time is coming for him to come and grab us and take us up. I can't wait. I've had several rapture dreams, and I fully believe with all my heart that we are in the last days, and we are getting so close, and he really could come at any moment.